the gas station attendant decided to pay for the gas of an elderly woman who appeared modest and simple and ended up being fired by the manager. A few hours later, he could hardly believe who showed up at his door. Nicholas worked at a gas station and was facing an especially busy day. The sun was shining intensely, and the flow of customers fueling their vehicles was constant. He worked efficiently and kindly, despite the oppressive heat. Amid the hustle and bustle, his eyes caught sight of an elderly woman dressed in simple, worn-out clothes, approaching with a worried expression on her face. The heat that day was stifling, demanding even more effort from Nicholas to keep up the pace. He moved swiftly between the cars, offering smiles and attending to each customer quickly. The line seemed endless, and exhaustion was beginning to weigh on his shoulders. Yet Nicola maintained a determined expression, not showing the fatigue he felt. While finishing up with another hurried driver, he noticed the elderly woman approaching. Her simple and worn clothes stood out among the sleek, modern cars around her. The expression on her face showed concern, as if she carried an invisible weight that made her hesitate with every step. Nicholas looked around, checking if any of his colleagues could cover for him for a moment. Then, he decided to take a brief pause to see what the woman needed. He approached her, trying to keep the same welcoming smile he used with all customers. "Good afternoon, ma'am. Can I help you with anything?" Nicholas asked, trying to mask the tiredness in his voice. The elderly woman looked at him, her eyes reflecting a mix of relief and uncertainty. She opened her mouth to respond but hesitated, as if choosing her words. Finally, she took a deep breath and tried to speak, but the words seemed to escape her. Nicholas remained patient, waiting for her to gather the courage to express what she was feeling. Around them, the noise of cars and people continued, but in that moment, it felt like a bubble of silence had formed between them. Nicholas observed the woman closely, noticing the distress in her eyes. He could tell that something was deeply troubling her, and this made him step a little closer. "My name is Donna Carmen," she finally said in a low, hesitant voice. I filled my car with gas, but I ended up forgetting my wallet at home." Nicholas heard the sincerity in her voice, and her genuine concern touched him. He knew situations like this could happen to anyone, and he felt an immediate urge to help. "I understand, Doña Carmen," he replied in a reassuring tone. "Don't worry, we'll figure this out." He opened his own wallet, and without hesitation took out the money needed to cover the cost of the fuel. With a calm and decisive gesture, he handed the money to Doña Carmen. "You don't need to worry," he said with a kind smile. "You can pay me back later. I trust your word." Tears of gratitude filled Doña Carmen's eyes. She seemed relieved, though still a bit unsettled by the unexpected kindness. "Thank you, young man," she said, her voice choked with emotion. "I promise I'll pay back every cent." Nicholas nodded, still smiling. "Don't worry about that now. The important thing is that you're okay." The elderly woman held Nicholas's hand for a moment, expressing her gratitude without needing words. He felt a human connection in that gesture, as if they shared a mutual understanding that went beyond the immediate situation. "I think everyone deserves a chance." Another employee, Marcos, couldn't hold back a sarcastic smile as he added, "That old lady must be a first-class liar. There are always some scammers around here." Nicholas heard the offensive comments and felt a pang in his chest. He knew that distrust and cynicism were common in that environment, but he couldn't accept the way they were treating Doña Carmen. Instead of joining the criticism, he approached her as she was preparing to leave and gently placed a hand on her shoulder. Doña Carmen looked at him with eyes still filled with gratitude and a hint of sadness from the words she had heard. Nicola met her gaze firmly, his voice filled with determination. "You don't need to worry about what they're saying," he said, loud enough for the others to hear. "I believe in you. Their words mean nothing." The employees who had made the comments fell silent, their expressions shifting between surprise and mild embarrassment. Nicholas's attitude, full of conviction and kindness, made it clear he would not tolerate such disrespect toward the elderly woman. Doña Carmen, her eyes still brimming with tears, squeezed Nicholas's hand in a gesture of silent gratitude. "Thank you again, my son. Your kindness means so much to me," she said, her voice trembling with emotion. Nicholas smiled, feeling a wave of human warmth that surpassed the heat of the day. "You're welcome, Doña Carmen," he replied. "I'm here to help." She nodded, holding his hand for a moment longer before letting go and getting into her car. Doña Carmen thanked him one last time, wiping the tears that still ran down her face. She got into her car, waving at Nicholas before driving away. He waved back, feeling a quiet satisfaction in having done what he believed was right. As the engine roared and the car began to pull away, Nicholas stood there, watching until it disappeared from view. As Doña Carmen drove off, Nicholas returned to work, but with a renewed sense of purpose. Helping that woman, even with something seemingly small, had brought him a sense of fulfillment. Nicholas knew that despite the hectic nature of the day, that gesture had made a difference in someone's life, and that to him was worth far more than any physical effort his job demanded. The other employees also went back to work. Some still cast skeptical glances, but no one made further sarcastic remarks. Nicholas knew that his words and actions had left a strong impression, at least for the moment. He hoped that perhaps it might make his colleagues reconsider their attitudes in the future. The sun continued to shine intensely, but Nicholas felt lighter, as if that act of kindness had illuminated his day in a special way. He went back to serving customers, aware of his co-workers' skeptical looks, but determined to hold on to his belief in people's goodness. As he helped the next customers, Nicolas couldn't stop thinking about Doña Carmen and the piece of paper in his pocket. He had faith that she would return, but more than that, he believed that regardless of the outcome, it wasn't about the money. A few minutes after the elderly woman left, the hostility of Nicholas's co-workers returned. Whispered comments and glances followed him as he continued serving the remaining customers. Nicholas tried to ignore them, staying focused on his work. When the day finally began to wind down and the flow of customers slowed, Nicholas thought he might have a chance to relax. However, his thoughts were interrupted when the station manager, Mr. Antonio, called him into the office. The manager was serious, with an expression of concern that Nicholas rarely saw. "Nicholas, I need to talk to you," said Mr. Antonio, gesturing toward a chair on the other side of the desk. Nicholas sat down, feeling a knot forming in his stomach. He knew something was wrong. "I heard about what happened today," the manager began, choosing his words carefully. "One of the employees informed me that they saw you taking money from the register to pay for a customer's fuel. It was an impulse to help someone in need. I didn't think about the possible consequences." The manager listened attentively to Nicholas's words, sensing the sincerity in his voice. However, the expression on Mr. Antonio's face remained serious and unyielding. He sighed deeply before speaking. "I'm sorry, Nicholas, but it's too late," said Mr. Antonio, his voice firm, but lacking the harshness that usually accompanied a dismissal. "If we make an exception, others might think they can delay payments, and that could create problems. I understand your good intentions, but we must follow the rules." A chill ran down Nicholas's spine. He knew he had acted with his heart, but he hadn't expected it to result in such a drastic measure. The lack of empathy and understanding in the manager's tone was evident. Despite all his effort and dedication to the job, he was being punished for trying to do good. "Mr. Antonio, please understand," Nicholas tried to argue, but the manager raised his hand to stop him. "I understand, Nicholas, but I can't let this slide," the manager continued. "The decision has already been made. Unfortunately, I'll need you to turn in your badge and keys." Nicholas's heart sank. He knew his actions could be misinterpreted, but he never imagined they would lead to his dismissal. With a sigh, he pulled the badge out of his pocket and placed it on the manager's desk, along with the keys to the station. "I hope you find a place where your good intentions are recognized and valued," said Mr. Antonio, his voice softening slightly. "But here, we have to strictly follow the rules." Nicholas stood up, feeling a heavy weight on his shoulders. He thanked the manager with a nod and left the office. The gas station now felt different, much colder and impersonal. His colleagues cast curious glances, and some even seemed pleased with what had happened. He walked slowly to his locker, gathered his few belongings, and exited through the front door. The sun was still shining brightly, but the day's warmth seemed to have faded, reflecting his state of mind. Nicholas left the station with tears in his eyes. and a heavy heart from losing his job. He knew he had done what he believed was right in helping Doña Carmen, and despite being fired, he didn't regret his decision. His actions aligned with his principles, and that gave him a sense of integrity, even if it wasn't acknowledged by the company. As he walked home, Nicholas reflected on what had happened. He knew he had acted with his heart, but also understood the need for rules and regulations. Even so, the manager's lack of compassion left him bitter. Despite the sadness, Nicholas resolved not to let this episode change who he was. He would continue to believe in kindness and help others whenever he could. After all, Nicholas preferred a world where acts of generosity were the norm, not the exception. And with this thought, Nicholas moved forward, determined to find a place where his actions would be valued and where he could continue to make a difference in people's lives, even in small but meaningful ways. When he arrived home, Nicholas found Aurora in the living room immersed in her daily activities. Her presence, always a refuge of care and understanding, felt like a comfort amid the whirlwind of emotions he was experiencing. The image of his mother, calm and at ease at home, sharply contrasted with the turmoil he carried inside. Nicholas knew she would sense his sadness, and that he would need to be strong to face the moment. But the thought of sharing his pain with someone who genuinely cared for him helped him breathe a little easier. He walked into the living room, where the familiar environment offered a small consolation in the midst of his disillusionment. The peaceful atmosphere of the house, with the aroma of fresh coffee and the soft sound of the radio in the background, provided a calming contrast to the chaos of his day. As Nicholas entered the room, the weight of his tears and sadness was still present, but simply being at home, near his mother, brought a sense of relief and temporary lightness. He prepared himself to explain the details, feeling the comfort of the support she had always offered him. Aurora's presence, even with her difficulty in moving, seemed like an unwavering source of love and understanding. As Nicholas began to recount what had happened, the feeling of being home, close to someone who truly cared, filled his heart. He started explaining the situation to Aurora, detailing every moment of the day. Nicholas described the encounter with Doña Carmen, the elderly woman's struggle to pay for fuel, and how, despite the hostility of his colleagues, he decided to help her. With a trembling voice, Nicholas narrated his conversation with the manager and how it ultimately resulted in his dismissal. Aurora watched him attentively, her silence reflecting the deep concern she always had for her son. The bond between them, strong and warm, symbolized that despite adversities, his mother's support and love would be a solid foundation to help him face the challenges ahead. As Nicholas spoke, Luisa, his 10-year-old sister, entered the room. She had noticed the sadness in her brother's voice and felt the need to approach him. With a look of concern and understanding beyond her years, Luisa walked up to Nicholas and hugged him tightly. "Big brother," said Luisa with a sweet yet firm voice, "you did the right thing. What matters is that you helped someone who needed it. We'll figure this out, I'm sure of it." Luisa's gesture and words offered Nicholas an unexpected sense of comfort. The wisdom and empathy of his young sister brought a welcome relief. He hugged her back, feeling the strength and warmth of familial support. Aurora observed the moment with a bittersweet smile. Luisa's maturity in handling the situation was a reflection of the loving and supportive environment she and Manuel had created at home. Luisa's embrace and encouraging words helped dissipate some of the shadow hanging over Nicola, giving him a fresh perspective and a renewed sense of hope. As Nicholas pulled away from the hug, he looked at his sister and his mother, feeling a wave of gratitude and relief. With his family's support and understanding, he felt a bit more empowered to face what lay ahead. The certainty that they would stand by him helped him believe that, despite the hardships, there was a path to be walked and that together they could find a solution. Despite the visible worry on her face, Aurora tried to remain calm as she dealt with the situation. Though the family's finances were a constant concern, her support for Nicholas was unwavering. She knew that despite their financial difficulties, her son's integrity and kindness were values she had proudly cultivated. Aurora looked at Nicholas with a gaze of understanding and encouragement, recognizing the courage and generosity he had demonstrated. "You've always had a generous heart, Nicholas," she said with a voice that, while soft, carried a profound sense of pride. "I believe everything will work out in the end. The kindness you showed today is something rare and valuable." Nicholas felt a wave of gratitude upon hearing his mother's words. Despite the disappointment of losing his job and the financial pressure his family faced, he felt strengthened by Aurora's unconditional support and Luisa's understanding. He knew that if there was any reason to feel proud, it was the fact that his actions had been guided by deep compassion. Even in the face of the news of his dismissal, Nicholas had no regrets about his choice. He had acted according to his principles, helping someone in need without expecting anything in return. For him, the importance of doing good for those who need it, regardless of personal consequences, was a value that surpassed any obstacle or difficulty. Watching her son's determination and dignity, Aurora felt they would emerge from this situation stronger. She believed that, in the end, the good Nicholas had done would come back to him somehow, and that his actions, though unrecognized by the company, demonstrated the kind of character that truly mattered. Despite the tension and uncertainty, their home had become a space of support and hope. Aurora and Luisa stood by Nicholas, offering the comfort and strength needed to face the days ahead. Together, as a united family, they were ready to confront adversity and find a way forward, holding on to the belief that, at some point, things would improve. As Nicholas, Aurora, and Luisa sat together in the living room, discussing how they could handle the situation, the phone rang, breaking the tense silence that hung in the air. The sound of the ringtone was like a reminder of real life, which seemed distant at that moment. "She told me how kind you were." Nicholas, feeling a mix of relief and curiosity, responded, "It was a pleasure to help. She seemed to need assistance, and I just did what I thought was right." With a warm and sincere tone, Paolo explained, "My grandmother was deeply moved by your generosity and help. She detailed the whole story when she got home, and I wanted to reach out to you immediately. I found out you were let go from your job, and I'm sorry to hear that." Nicholas, touched by Paolo's concern and empathy, replied firmly, "Don't worry, Paolo. I don't regret what I did. Helping your grandmother was the right thing to do." Paolo paused before continuing, I understand, and that's why I'm calling. I have a proposal for you. Of course, I'd like to reimburse the cost of the gas, but I'd also like to discuss something else with you. Can we arrange a meeting to talk about it?" Surprised by the offer and Paolo's kindness, Nicholas hesitated for a moment. He glanced at Aurora and Luisa, who were watching with curiosity and hope. "Sure, Paolo, I'm available to talk," he said. Paolo continued, showing genuine gratitude. "My grandmother is truly thankful for what you did, and we want to honor our word." Nicholas felt warmth in his heart upon hearing Paolo's words. The sincerity in his voice and the intention to reimburse the fuel costs were gestures of respect and recognition that Nicholas deeply appreciated. "I'm touched by your attitude, Paolo. It will be a pleasure to meet you. You can come by whenever it's convenient," Nicholas said. Paolo thanked him and confirmed the details of the visit. "I appreciate your understanding, Nicholas. I'll be there as soon as possible. See you soon." Nicholas, still holding the phone, felt a slight smile forming on his face. The unexpected call brought a renewed sense of hope and curiosity about what might come next. After ending the call, Nicholas turned to Aurora and Luisa, who were both attentive and hopeful. He shared the news about the call with newfound enthusiasm. Aurora and Luisa listened intently, their expressions lighting up with the possibility that a solution might be on the horizon. The hope that Nicholas's generosity could be recognized and rewarded was beginning to materialize, offering a new perspective on the future that lay ahead. Aurora embraced Nicholas warmly, and the atmosphere in the room filled with a renewed positive energy. Paolo's upcoming visit and his promise of repayment brought a sense of reassurance that, despite the challenges faced, Nicholas's kindness and integrity were being acknowledged and valued. The family prepared to welcome Paolo, eager to see what the future held, and grateful for the support arriving in unexpected moments. In no time, Paolo arrived at Nicholas's home. bringing with him the reimbursement for the fuel that Doña Carmen had used and a card with a message of gratitude. Paulo handed Nicholas the payment with a genuine smile, and Nicholas, visibly moved by the gesture, accepted it with gratitude. Beyond the payment, Nicholas extended an additional gesture of hospitality by inviting Paulo for coffee. As he entered the house, Paulo was warmly welcomed by Aurora, who led him to the living room. While the two sat in the living room, Aurora prepared coffee and offered some simple treats. The conversation began casually, with Paulo praising Nicholas's actions and expressing his admiration for his kindness. In turn, Nicholas asked questions about Paulo's family and Doña Carmen, showing genuine interest in their story and experiences. As they talked, Paulo realized how genuinely friendly and generous Nicholas was. The atmosphere of the room, with its warm colors and the aroma of fresh coffee, seemed to reflect Nicholas's and his family's welcoming nature. Paulo saw that beyond his generous act, Nicholas was someone with a big heart and a kind spirit. What started as a simple reimbursement turned into an engaging conversation, with both men sharing stories and experiences. Paulo felt a connection with Nicholas and appreciated the opportunity to know more about the man behind the good deed. The coffee turned into a meaningful exchange, and Paulo found himself admiring Nicholas's character more with each passing moment. He appeared to ponder the right time to share something important he had been keeping secret. After a moment of hesitation, Paulo decided to reveal the truth. "My grandmother has been facing some memory issues and was recently diagnosed with Alzheimer's," Paulo said with a voice filled with sincerity and respect. He noticed the surprise on Nicholas's face. Nicholas was stunned by the revelation, his expression showing evident shock. He listened attentively as Paulo explained further. "She's a wonderful person, but the disease has made it difficult for her to remember things. I understand that she might have caused some confusion at the gas station, but even so, she remembered you and was deeply moved by your help. I just wanted you to know that, despite the challenges my grandmother is facing, your generosity and patience have meant so much to us. I feel it's important for you to know that your act of kindness was not only recognized, but truly appreciated." Although surprised by the revelation, Nicholas felt relieved to understand the context behind the situation. The news about Mrs. Carmen's condition helped explain the difficulties she'd been facing. He felt even more touched by the situation and understood the depth of the impact of his actions. "I'm truly sorry to hear about your grandmother's condition," Nicholas said, with a tone of empathy and understanding. "I just did what I thought was right at the time. If you need anything, please don't hesitate to reach out to me." Paulo, while speaking with Nicholas, explained with a tone of concern and sincerity, "We're trying to adapt to the new health issues my grandmother is facing. We can't leave her alone at home anymore, and it's been a challenge for all of us. Just today, she drove off in the car without anyone noticing." He paused, looking into Nicholas's eyes with an expression of gratitude. "What you did was incredibly moving. In such difficult and vulnerable times for our family, your kindness showed that there are still good-hearted people in the world. Even without knowing our circumstances, you did the right thing." Nicholas, listening attentively, felt a wave of compassion for Paulo's family. Understanding the challenges they were facing brought a new perspective to the situation. He was grateful to have had the opportunity to help, even without knowing the full story at the time. "Honestly, it was a simple and heartfelt gesture, Paulo," Nicholas said. The atmosphere was charged with a sense of connection and mutual understanding, until Paulo finally responded, "Yes, I understand." Then he revealed the real reason for the visit. With a resolute tone and a respectful look, he said, "Actually, I'm the owner of the gas station where everything happened, Nicholas. That's why I want to make you an offer. As a token of gratitude for everything you've done, I'd like to offer you a job as a manager at my gas station. I'm sorry that you were unfairly dismissed, and Mr. Antonio has already been relieved of his duties." The offer took Nicholas completely by surprise. He looked at Paulo, stunned and emotional, absorbing the meaning of his words. The idea of a promotion instead of being fired, especially during such a challenging time, was a significant gesture that not only recognized Nicholas's kindness, but also offered a new opportunity for his future. With his eyes shining with gratitude, Nicholas sincerely thanked Paulo. He was touched by the offer and by how Paulo had acknowledged and valued his action. "I don't know how to thank you enough, Paulo. This means so much to me. I gratefully accept the offer and hope to contribute to your business in the best way possible." Paulo smiled, relieved and happy to help Nicholas for his kindness. The meeting, which began with a simple conversation about an act of generosity, had turned into a new opportunity for Nicholas, demonstrating that sometimes, even in the most difficult situations, moments of hope and new possibilities arise. Nicholas, surprised and deeply moved, listened attentively as Paulo continued to speak in an encouraging and firm tone. "I have full confidence in you," Paulo said, looking into Nicholas's eyes with sincerity. "I saw your compassion and dedication during what happened at the station. I believe you'd be perfect for the role." He paused, allowing his words to sink in. "Tomorrow morning you'll receive a brief training and your immediate start as manager will begin. I'm confident that with your work ethic, compassion, and leadership skills, you'll be a valuable addition to our team." Nicholas felt a wave of emotion upon hearing those words. Paulo's offer was also a reaffirmation that his character and actions had not gone unnoticed. The possibility of starting a new chapter in his life with a position of responsibility and the chance to contribute significantly brought a renewed sense of hope. With his voice filled with emotion, Nicholas replied, "Paulo, your words mean so much to me, not just for the offer, but for the way you recognize the value of what I did. I'm truly grateful for this opportunity and ready to give my best." Paulo smiled, visibly pleased with Nicholas's response. "I'm looking forward to working with you, Nicholas. I believe you'll bring a fresh perspective and great value to our team. Let's start planning the training and the next steps." Nicholas, feeling a mix of relief and excitement, thanked Paulo once again. The act of kindness that began at the gas station had transformed into an extraordinary opportunity for Nicholas and his family. What seemed like a simple act of generosity was now paving a new and promising path in his life. The following morning, Nicholas received training and began his new role with renewed determination, bringing to the position his leadership skills, work ethic, and, above all, the same compassion that had guided him to help Doña Carmen. In the first few months, Nicholas quickly stood out. His dedication and management skills were evident, and he was recognized for his ability to lead the team with empathy and effectiveness. His contributions improved the station's operations, increased customer satisfaction, and strengthened the team. Nicholas's hard work and commitment did not go unnoticed, earning him praise from both colleagues and supervisors. Even Paulo and Marcos, who had mocked his kindness towards Doña Carmen, completely changed their attitudes, fearful of losing their jobs. Moreover, the impact of Nicholas's new position was profound for him and his family, truly changing their lives. The financial stability brought by his new job eased the economic worries that had been a constant source of stress. Aurora and Luisa felt a wave of relief and happiness as they witnessed the positive transformation in Nicholas's life. With the new job, Nicholas was finally able to provide a better life for his mother and sister. The financial stability he now enjoyed allowed him to cover all household expenses, offering his family more comfort and improving everyone's quality of life. He felt a deep sense of fulfillment and pride for following his heart and doing what he believed was right, even when it had put his own job at risk. Now established in his new role as a manager, Nicholas continued to be an example of integrity and compassion. His journey not only brought positive changes to his own life, but also inspired those around him to recognize the value of helping others and believing in human kindness. Paulo's gesture not only rewarded Nicholas's generosity, but also restored his faith in humanity. Paulo's kindness and the unexpected job offer showed Nicholas that, despite the hardships and injustices he had faced, the universe still had ways to return the good he had sown. This acknowledgement was proof that his actions held meaning and impact, bringing Nicholas immense comfort. Over time, Nicholas continued to excel in his management role at the station with dedication and compassion. He led his team with empathy, always striving to create a positive and welcoming environment. Customers at the station noticed the difference, frequently praising the attentive service and operational efficiency. Nicholas's experience demonstrated that acts of kindness, even the simplest ones, can create unexpected connections and transform lives for the better. What began as an act of helping an elderly woman in need resulted in a lasting relationship and a new life opportunity. Nicholas and Paulo's story spread, inspiring others to act with generosity and proving that, amidst adversity, kindness can open doors and create meaningful opportunities. Nicholas's life had transformed, and he continued to touch lives with his story. His example showed that, even in the face of challenges, integrity and a generous heart can create opportunities and build a legacy of hope and inspiration. The cycle of kindness, which started with a simple gesture at the gas station, had grown, proving that the good we do for others can indeed come back to us in surprising and enriching ways. So, what did you think of the story? The channel Vivencias Narradas * thanks you for watching. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and comment below with your thoughts on the story. If you enjoyed this story, give it a like and share it with a friend.